There's so much information out there around property investing, but where do you start? If you're new to the channel, my name's Jamie York. I've been investing in property for a better part of a decade now, and I want to show you how simple, not easy, property investment can be. The great thing about property investment is that it's got so much evidence. It's got around 1,000 years. It's actually since the Roman Empire it's been used as an investment vehicle. And whilst 1,000 years of evidence doesn't guarantee the future, it's a pretty good indication of it. And look, you don't need to reinvent success. You can model and copy others. So the first thing we need to look at is strategy. So a lot of people, they think property, just go out and do viewings. Viewings makes money, right? No, viewings do not make money. Ignore whoever's told you that. If somebody goes, oh, you're struggling, just go and do more viewings. Don't do that. Understand your actual strategy. So you can go from the lowest risk investment, which would be boring, vanilla buy-to-let property, or you could go all the way to the other side with commercial conversions and developments. And there's everything in between with how much risk is associated, how long you're going to wait for the money, and of course, what money you've got to start. If you're watching this and you don't have any money, you're probably going to want to do a mixture between deal packaging and buy-to-lets. And we'll get to that in a moment. But understanding your strategy is going to be the baseline for everything else you're doing. Once you understand your strategy, you need to narrow your location. A lot of people, and I see this with people that are 6 months into their journey, and it's like, I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm going to change my location. I live in London. It's really difficult in London, so I'm going to go to Newcastle. It's like, on the basis of what? And it's always, oh, it's really cheap up there, right? So you'll be able to buy more money. Well, yeah, that's really good. But actually, when you understand your location and narrow it down to postcodes, don't just say London, Leeds, Newcastle, okay? So if I'm saying Leeds, it might be LS4, LS5, LS6, LS12, and LS10, just as an example. Then I might develop out to South Leeds and West Leeds. And then it might be Leeds, then it might be West Yorkshire, and you build it up from there. But once you've got your location, you then understand exactly what you're looking for and where you're looking for it, which then leaves you to focus on your service. Now, you might not think, well, I'm building my portfolio, what service is there? Well, I probably think about 4 levels of service. If you're deal packaging, which if you're completely new, deal packaging is where you are finding a great property, somebody else buys it. Imagine you're an estate agent, but you represent the buyer instead of the seller of the property, and you get paid a fee for that. So service number 1 is a finder's fee, which is exactly what I just said. Find a great property, they buy it, you get paid money. Next is going to be packaged deals. Package deals or a deal package is when you take on more of the work. For example, at Spire Property Group, my company, we do an end-to-end service. So we find it, negotiate it, get it through legals, secure your finance and get that in place with your mortgage, get it refurbished, and then let it out. So most of my investors never actually see their property. They get their money working hard for them instead of them working hard for the money. So what about portfolio building? Well, when you're building your own portfolio, I don't care how much money you got, I'm sorry to say this, you're gonna run out. So you need to raise finance elsewhere. And there's 2 key ways of doing this, either on a joint venture basis. Most joint venture is when somebody puts in the money, you put in the time, and you usually do a 50-50 split. On buy-to-let properties, I am not a massive fan of doing that, really. What's the point giving away so much when actually you're taking low risk, so it's lower returns? Or option number 4 is a loan agreement. So somebody will loan you money and get a return on that. Bear in mind, people are getting like 4-5% in the bank. You can offer 7-8%, which is a huge return for them. But in property, you're going to make double-digit returns. So it's a great opportunity to arbitrage that return, if you like. So they make their money and you make yours. So why do you need to understand all of that at the beginning of property investment? I just want to go out there, right? Well, no. And this is the danger. You end up going to a training company. I'm not knocking them, by the way. I also do paid for property education. But if you don't even know what you're doing, you're going to do it based on the person selling the training course, which if I'm training on HMOs, guess what I'm going to make sound amazing? HMOs. If I love lease options, guess what I'm going to be selling you? Lease options, okay? So everyone's got their vested interest. You go and sign up, and then it's only 6 months down the line where you go, what do I actually want to do? So now that you understand your strategy, your location, and your service, you're starting to understand the benefits for people. For example, a joint venture, I'm attracting somebody that's got an appetite for risk because they're going to share in that risk, but also wants the rewards for that. For a loan agreement and building my portfolio, I've got somebody that, yes, they know how cool property is, but they don't really care about owning it. They just want to make a set, fixed return on their money. For deal packaging, if I'm doing a finder's fee, I'm probably looking and benefiting a property professional that knows what a great property is. They just want me to find it and then they go and do all of the work. For a package deal that it's completely hands-free, this is going to be for somebody that knows how amazing property is, they want to own it, but they're a busy working professional, so they've got the money and they want me to build the portfolio for them. Notice how the customer type is completely different as we're going through. Why do I go through this? Well, now that I know my strategy, location, and the service, I can understand what my benefits are, my USP, my unique selling point, and then I can start thinking about my customer avatar and how I can find them. So now that I know I want hands-free property people, that maybe they're not property professionals, they live in London, for example, maybe they're on YouTube listening or ready to watch a video, wanting to learn in their spare time, like you. Maybe there's somebody that's, I don't know, a dentist, a doctor, a lawyer, a trader, something like that. Maybe they live in London where you can't buy a bloody shed for 100 grand, but up in Leeds you can buy 2 properties with using that as a deposit. So I've got this core understanding so I can start marketing them in the right way, and so can you. So now that you've done this, you can talk to investors, you can understand your criteria, then and only then do you start looking at property. And I know that's like the opposite of what most people say, but so many people, they spend so much time looking at properties all the time, but it's just a stupid idea, because if you don't understand the criteria and you don't have the money, then how do you know what a great deal is? The only reason a property becomes a great deal is due to criteria, and the criteria comes from you and your investors that are looking to build their own portfolios or loan to you. And what returns you need on the property is going to be dictated by how much they're going to loan you and at what percentage. So what are the basics of buying a property? Well, now this is actually what I would consider the right way of doing it. You're going to be in touch with agents, vendors, etc. You're going to look at the photos and you're going to submit offers over the phone without viewing the property, subject to viewing. I promise you, this is a nice little life hack in property investment that is going to save you so much time. Most people, they'll go and do 20 viewings, price up 20 properties, put in 20 offers and get 1 accepted. Why not put in 20, 30, 40 offers, save yourself weeks and weeks and weeks of time, subject to viewing, then go to the ones that get accepted to price up the property, reevaluate your offer. It might be the same, might need to knock 2 grand off. You explain that to the agent and why. You're going to save so much time, get more accepted and make more money. Once you get the property agreed, you're going to need to send what is known as a memorandum of sale. And a memo of sale or memorandum of sale is just a really simple, this is what I'm buying it at, this is the address, this is the time scales. You're going to need to send your proof of ID, proof of address and proof of your finances or proof of funds. You send that over, it then goes into the legal process, so you get engaged with a solicitor. They're going to raise inquiries, go back and forth, ask questions, make sure you're covered legally, goes all the way through the legal process. At the same time, you're going to get a valuation on the property if you're buying with finance like a mortgage. They're going to go out, make sure it's worth what you're actually paying for it, then the property is going to complete. At this point, you're going to exchange and complete on the property and get out your refurb team ready to make your house a tenant's home. So now you got this, you got to optimize. Okay, so how do you actually optimize? Well, I use something called Lendlord, which is today's video sponsor. So thank you, Lendlord, for getting involved with today's video. And this piece of software is completely free. You can upload all of your properties, secure your finance through there, and actually make sure you're managing it so you can see the money coming in. And as I said, it's completely free. They make money when you actually use things like if you raise finance through them, they get a small percentage. By the way, you can get access to that right now by clicking the link in the description. Click the link in the description below. So go on there and register your details. As I said, it's completely free. And it's really important to optimize in this way, because if you get a bit complacent about it, it's like when something's just ticking along, the money's coming in, you could get really complacent and you leave it. And then what happens over time is the quality will drop. But you need to be making sure that you've got the best finance in place, the cheapest finance over the long term. You need to make sure you've got a great management agent. And what that means is the property getting looked after, and are the bloody tenants paying on time? And actually what I love about Lendlord is you can do all of those things in one place. Now look, I love Lendlord, and as I said, it's completely free. Why not try it out? But even if you're not looking at using that, use your own spreadsheets. Find a way to manage this and optimize through time. You might think by making the extra 3-4% profit each year, it's not that big of a deal. Well, times that by 10 years, that becomes a cumulative or compound return of 40 to 50% upwards. The small things make a big difference over time. So here are some top tips, some little secrets, if you like, of how to be the best in your area. Number one is actually understand your area. I don't just mean walk the streets and understand it, but if you looked at the local development plan, for example, in your area, you would know before most people that live there how much money is getting invested. Let me give an example of this. In Doncaster, a little area called Stainforth, there is hundreds, 800 million plus being invested right now into a huge development, going to create tens of thousands of jobs, and is going to skyrocket the local demand for property. It's already happened. I bought property there for 80 grand that's now worth 150 in just a couple of years. And yeah, my build team, some of them live in Stainforth, were like, I wouldn't buy here. No way I would buy a property here. Why have you bought a property here? What a terrible purchase. Because when you're buying property just on what you see, you're not understanding the economics behind it. Remember, everything is about supply and demand. And when there's money getting pumped into infrastructure, development, thousands of jobs are created. And when thousands of jobs are created, it increases the odds of people wanting to live there because they're going to have long-term work. What does that mean? Well, increased in demand for rents and increase in demand for property purchase, and then the prices go up. Next is have a Kaizen approach to your development and your learning, a constant and never-ending improvement. And I think this is really important with my own development. I've invested hundreds of thousands in my education, and I actually have a budget now, an allocation of funds that will continuously go into that. I will invest millions into my development over years. Now, I'm not saying start with investing hundreds of thousands in mentors. If you do, amazing through time, but start with YouTube. You know, if this is your first video that you've watched, don't just watch this video and then move on. Subscribe to the channel. Hint, hint. Genuinely though, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and get reminded. I send out, I'm going to keep to this, 3 videos every single week that's going to help you grow your property investment knowledge. If you just watch these 3 videos a week, you will increase your financial acumen past almost everyone you know. And if you want to be a part of the 1%, then you've got to do the things that 99% of people aren't doing. So subscribe to the channel, find others that you really relate to, and watch the videos religiously and implement. And finally, take action. Like, everyone sort of waits. It's like this analysis paralysis bullshit that comes in. Like, you're waiting for some sort of perfect scenario. Like, what do you think's gonna happen? Do you think that, let's say the property market collapsed, right? Let's say it collapsed and it dropped 20%. Do you think you're gonna go, do you know what? I can actually buy all this property now for a 20% discount. Let's go buy it. No, you won't. You go, oh my God, what if it drops another 10%? What if I buy today and it drops again? Well, what happens then? Think about 2007, 2008. You had this crash. Amazing time to buy, right? And then it increased and people go, oh, property prices are too expensive now. Do you know there's not been a 10-year period since the Doomsday Book in 1086, almost 1,000 years of evidence now. There hasn't been a decade, any period ever, a 10-year period where property prices have gone down. That means if at any point you knew the past from today and I went, would you prefer to buy now or 10 years ago? If you had a brain cell that could rub against an another one. You would say I'd buy 10 years ago. So don't fall into that trap of analysis paralysis. Go, am I too late? No, you're not too late. The best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago. The second best time is today. And you know what? You are sat in the shade of a tree today because somebody did plant that 10 years ago. So if you're looking to leave a legacy for your children, stop waiting to get into property, buy property and wait and protect your legacy over the long term. The only thing that is stopping you from just watching this video and moving on to the next and being successful is the implementation of knowledge through time. So hey, I hope that was helpful. Obviously, I've just covered some real basics in today's video. If there's anything you want expanding about, or obviously you're new to property and you just want to find out a little bit more, often the best content is based around the best questions. So if you've got any questions and you'd like me to create content, well look, this channel is for you. So let me know in the comments. Make sure to subscribe, and I promise I will add it to my list to create the content for you in the first place. So if you did get value, you have no idea how much it helps. Just if you could lightly tap the like button, takes you 2 seconds, but really helps show others the value of this video and help the channel grow. And of course, as I said, if you are new to property and you're new to the channel, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and start taking action.